This is my girlfriend, Mia. She is 18 years old. Staring at me in utter shock, the young woman whose name was just announced narrowed her eyes with a smirk. Her name was Mia Miller, and she was a senior in high school. Yes, a high schooler. And to make matters worse, she was already pregnant with my husband Mason's child. Terrified by his complete lack of morals, I signed the divorce papers right then and there. Meanwhile, my in-laws laid out a massive spread of catered barbecue and appetizers on the dining table, throwing a grand party to celebrate. Ignoring their loud cheers behind me, I walked out of the house. I never imagined my hellish days would end so suddenly. Then, 13 days after the divorce, my son Tyler called me after returning from his summer college prep camp. What awaited him when he got back to our house was an unbelievable, absolute nightmare. Mia is my girlfriend. Yes, the new teenage bride my ex-husband had just married was the exact same girl my son had been dating. The shocking truth left me completely speechless. I am going to end this. Tyler's voice was low and trembling with pure rage. For his sake and mine, I decided right then that I would drag my ex-husband's family and Mia straight down to hell. My name is Alice Carter, 45 years old. I used to live with my husband Mason, who is 3 years younger than me, our son Tyler, who just started his senior year of high school, and my parents-in-law. We lived in a large split-level house. My in-laws took the first floor, and the three of us lived on the second floor. We shared the front entrance and the laundry room, but our living rooms, kitchens, and bedrooms were entirely separate. This layout was actually my mother-in-law's idea. Alice, you are always so busy with your job. You do not need to worry about me and my husband. We will take care of our own space. When we decided to build this multi-generational home, she insisted on keeping our living spaces separate. She claimed that even though we were family, she did not want to burden me, and that doing our own chores would be easier for everyone. Honestly, I had fully expected to be burdened with doing the housework for all 5 of us once we moved in together. I had mentally prepared for that, but it seemed my mother-in-law had no intention of relying on me. Tyler is still young and needs a lot of attention. So, Alice, if you ever need help, just let me know. I really wish I could just do all the chores for the whole house myself. No, I could never impose on you like that. Let us just split the chores and handle our own floors. Thank you so much for being so considerate. Oh, I should be the one thanking you. I was just so happy you agreed to live together. Let us get along well. My mother-in-law smiled warmly, her eyes crinkling at the corners. Hearing her say that made me sigh in relief. I genuinely believed I could live a peaceful life with such kind in-laws. And just as I expected, we maintained a great relationship for a long time. However, everything changed one fateful day. My once considerate mother-in-law suddenly started forcing all the housework onto me. Alice, make sure you cook dinner for all 5 of us again tonight. As I started preparing dinner, my mother-in-law walked up to me. Next to her, my father-in-law was standing there with a nasty smirk. Well, honey, it sure is nice to have less on your plate, right? Oh, absolutely. It is such a lifesaver having Alice home all day. You are a freeloader now, so you should be grateful we are giving you a purpose in life. My mother-in-law's lips curled into a cruel smile. I swallowed my sigh and quietly nodded. I understand. Arguing would be pointless, so I had no choice but to obey. Satisfied, my in-laws strutted back to their living room. From that point on, I was responsible for the chores of all 5 people in the house, completely on my own. Their attitude had shifted drastically 3 months prior. Until then, I had been working at a classic American family bakery, owned by my parents. Ever since I graduated from culinary school 25 years ago, I had dedicated my life to supporting their shop. But my parents were getting older, and feeling the physical toll, they made the difficult decision to close the bakery. I understood it could not be helped, but I never imagined I would lose my job at this exact time. The moment I became unemployed, my in-laws turned ice cold. Your parents closed their bakery? What are you going to do for work, Alice? I am going to start looking for a new job soon. I am so sorry to make you worry. I briefly explained the situation and the reasons behind the closure. But for some reason, my in-laws immediately assumed the business went completely bankrupt due to terrible financial management. I thought your parents were responsible people, but to let a business go under like that? Were things really that bad financially? And now you have to look for a job. That means you are unemployed. Having a daughter-in-law who is a deadbeat mooch is embarrassing. Well, I know it is an inconvenience, but I am going to find a job as quickly as I can. My usually mild-mannered in-laws glared at me with sheer disgust. I could not hide my confusion at their sudden hostility. They had such a nice storefront. We always assumed your family was wealthy, but I guess we were dead wrong. Even if your parents are flat broke, do not expect a single dime from us. If they come begging for money, you handle it yourself, Alice. My in-laws were terrified that my jobless parents would come begging them for cash. Judging from their tone, they truly believed my parents had filed for bankruptcy. My parents did close the shop, but they are not struggling financially at all. So you do not need to worry about anything like that. I hurriedly tried to deny it, but they refused to believe me. Of course you would take your parents' side, Alice. They probably told you to lie to us so we would not get suspicious. Aren't you ashamed that your parents failed at business? Just hurry up and find a job, and stop being a burden on Mason. The two of them shot me a piercing glare. Exhausted, I went to Mason for help. Your parents have a huge misunderstanding. Could you please explain it to them, Mason? My parents only closed the shop because of their age. But Mason just frowned. Maybe that is what your parents told you, Alice. But do you have any actual proof of that? Excuse me? You could have taken over the bakery and kept it running, but they chose to shut it down. Doesn't that mean sales were tanking, and they had no choice but to close? I understood why Mason thought that. Right after they decided to close, I had actually begged my parents to let me keep the bakery open. I offered to take over the business, but they just shook their heads. Maybe they just did not want me to bear the burden. Your parents probably knew sales would never recover, so they didn't let you inherit it. Blaming it on their age is just a convenient excuse. Let me be clear right now. Do not drag our family into your parents' financial mess. If they are broke, we do not have the money to bail them out. Mason shared the exact same mindset as his parents. He was just paranoid about giving my parents any money. Just find a job quickly. We have Tyler's college tuition to think about. I understand. I am sorry for causing trouble. Met with Mason's cold dismissal. I could not say another word. Tyler was currently studying out of his mind to prepare for his college entrance exams. His dream was to become a doctor, so he was aiming for a top-tier pre-med program. Thinking about the sheer cost of university tuition, I knew I could not sit around doing nothing. While being treated like a maid by my mother-in-law, I desperately hunted for a job. Amidst all this, Tyler was the only one who cared about me. Mom, are you okay? You have been doing Grandma and Grandpa's chores lately too, right? Let me help you. While I was cooking dinner, he poked his head into the kitchen. He had noticed his grandparents' nasty attitude and was worried about me. No, Tyler, you need to study. Mom will handle the housework. I quickly forced a smile and acted tough. Still, Tyler's expression remained cloudy. I am sorry you are working so hard because of me. You have nothing to apologize for. If anything, I am sorry for making you worry. But Mom is totally fine, so please just focus on your studies. Okay, Tyler was my pride and joy, my emotional anchor. I could endure anything for him. I swore to myself that I would support him no matter what, so he could get into a great medical school. However, my in-laws' behavior grew worse by the day. Alice, are you actually cleaning every day? There is a thick layer of dust behind the TV. You probably skipped it thinking we would not notice. You are such an arrogant daughter-in-law, looking down on us. If my chores were even slightly imperfect, they relentlessly attacked me, treating me like a servant. They firmly believed that because I was unemployed, I deserved to do every single chore in the house. I was trying my absolute best for my family, but constantly being belittled pushed me to my breaking point, and I finally snapped back. If you noticed the dust, why didn't you just clean it yourselves? You two do not work either, just like me. My in-laws were always home. They spent their days lounging on the living room sofa watching television. They had more than enough time to clean. If you helped out even a little bit, it would really lessen my burden. The moment I talked back, my father-in-law's face turned bright red. How dare you speak to us like that? We are old. We do not have the boundless energy you do, Alice. There is no way we can clean. You are just trying to boss us around because you want to be lazy. I guess you just took it for granted when my wife used to do the chores. No, of course I am deeply grateful to her. It was a huge help when she shared the chores while I was raising Tyler. But even so, forcing everything on me now is completely unfair. If I spend all day doing chores, I have no time to look for a job. I just wanted a tiny bit of cooperation. Instead, my mother-in-law let out a dramatic sigh and put on a sorrowful face. You have absolutely no respect for us, Alice. You are just trying to find any excuse to dump your chores onto us. That is not true. I just want some help. I am not asking you to do everything. You are trying to force elderly people to do manual labor. I never realized you were such a cold-hearted woman, Alice. My mother-in-law whimpered weakly, playing the ultimate victim. Stepping up to defend her, my father-in-law raised his voice. My wife has been pushing herself to her limits, trying to be considerate of you all these years. If you are truly grateful, you should shut your mouth and do the housework without complaining. It was clear my in-laws would do anything to avoid lifting a finger. No matter how much I tried to reason with them, they painted me as the villain. Worse, whenever something displeased them, they shouted and criticized me over nothing. You roasted this chicken way too long. It is so salty I cannot even eat it. You do not care about our health at all, do you? Or do you secretly hope we get sick and die? Pointing at the roasted chicken on his plate, my father-in-law scowled. I had not added any extra salt. They just wanted to complain about every single thing I did. Swallowing the sigh, threatening to escape my lips, I looked at them. I am sorry it was not to your taste. I apologize. But I promise it was not intentional. I maintained a calm facade and offered an apology. But my in-laws' anger did not subside. Of course you would say it wasn't intentional. You refuse to admit your own faults, Alice. You are so petty, resorting to this kind of harassment. We do not want to hear your excuses. Just apologize properly. They glared at me with absolute contempt. But if I kept submitting to them, they would only get worse. Taking a deep breath, I opened my mouth. If you are this dissatisfied with my cooking, why don't you start preparing your own meals from now on? That way, you will not have to worry about the food being too salty. The moment I suggested they cook for themselves, my father-in-law slammed his hands on the table and stood up. Why should we have to make our own food? Housework is a wife's duty. You do not even have a job, so you should at least do this right. He scowled, looking profoundly offended. My mother-in-law chimed in to scold me as well. Why won't you treat us with respect, Alice? A normal daughter-in-law is kind to her husband's parents. You just hate us, don't you? If you hate doing chores that much, why don't you just crawl back to your parents' house? We would be thrilled if you packed your bags and left any time. They probably thought that invoking my parents' names would force me into silence. And when I did fall silent, they flashed vulgar, triumphant smiles. Oh, right. You cannot go back to your parents. You cannot burden those unemployed failures, can you? If you do not want to be a burden on them, then do your chores properly. You can do that much, right, Alice? Since you do absolutely nothing else all day. I understand. Biting my lip, I swallowed the words I wanted to scream. If I went back to my parents' house, I would only make them worry. Terrified of doing that, I had blindly followed my in-laws' orders up until now. They were exploiting my love for my parents to treat me like a slave. Since I felt I could not rely on my parents, I had no choice but to endure this miserable life. After that, I killed my emotions and spent my days enduring their unreasonable demands. My in-laws constantly found petty things to yell at me for. You can bake pastries, but your actual cooking is a disaster. This chicken noodle soup is entirely too bland today. You are just cutting corners. Try thinking about how we feel being forced to eat this garbage. My dress shirt is completely wrinkled. It is embarrassing that you cannot even do laundry right. It is obvious you have just been half-assing the chores this entire time. Why was I, the one doing all the work, constantly being insulted by the two people doing absolutely nothing? Reaching my absolute limit one day, I went to Mason. I cannot take your parents' attitude anymore. No matter what I say, they will not listen. Could you please talk to them for me? But Mason just looked at me like I was crazy. Why should I warn my parents? The solution is simple, Alice. You just need to do a better job at the housework. But I am being forced to do the chores for 5 people all by myself. They will not help me, and they do nothing but insult me. You are unemployed, Alice. If you do not at least do the chores, you have no right to live in this house. My parents aren't insulting you. They are being strict with you for your own good. Instead of taking my side, Mason firmly sided with his parents. I was speechless at his absurd response. You are surviving off my paycheck right now, Alice. It is only natural that you do the chores for my parents in return. Asking them to help you is completely out of line. But at this rate, I have no time to look for a job. I just need their cooperation so I can find work. Stop trying to rely on my parents. Just look for a job in between doing the chores. Besides, you and my parents are in completely different positions. Mason shot me a cold, exasperated look. My parents are chipping in for groceries using their retirement savings. You, on the other hand, have not contributed a single penny. I cannot believe you have the nerve to complain. It was true that my father-in-law gave us a small portion of his savings for living expenses. Because Mason was grateful for that, he was entirely on their side. Please, do not cause trouble for my parents. We all know your parents aren't going to help us out anyway. This conversation is over. I have to wake up early tomorrow, so I am going to sleep. He refused to listen to another word. His attitude had grown even colder than before, and I felt utterly defeated. One day, I was getting ready to head over to my parents' old bakery. The building had been left untouched since it closed, and I went there regularly to clean and organize things. I felt terrible leaving the heavy lifting to my elderly parents, so I was doing it for them, but as I headed toward the front door, my mother-in-law stopped me. Alice, where are you going? It is almost noon. What about our lunch? I am sorry. I have to go clean my parents' shop. There is food in the fridge for lunch. Please just heat it up. Cleaning? She scowled at my answer. Finding a new job is way more important than cleaning up a dead business. I thought you were heading to a job interview. I am searching for jobs online right now, so please do not worry. But I cannot just abandon the shop building right now. You are not going to get paid a single cent for cleaning that place. Put that off and go find a job immediately. Despite her furious screaming, I did not want to leave the shop unattended. Ignoring her protests, I headed to the bakery. When I returned home that evening, after finishing my work, I heard my in-laws talking in the living room. Good Lord, when is Alice going to learn her place? Disobeying us and refusing to find a job. She has no idea where she stands. She is practically a beggar in this house. Why is she acting so high and mighty? They were having a great time talking behind my back. They probably spent all their alone time trading insults about me. I deliberately made a loud noise as I opened the door. Instantly, my mother-in-law snapped her eyes toward me. Oh, you are back. Hurry up and start making dinner. Make something good today. I do not want to eat any of your overly salty garbage. Understood. I will be careful. Without arguing, I quietly walked into the kitchen. Lashing out would only make things worse. I had lost the energy to even talk back. While suffering through those suffocating days, I received some wonderful news from Tyler. One day, while my in-laws were out of the room, he approached me, looking a bit shy. Mom, do you have a second? There is something I want to tell you. What is it? You sound so serious. Well, I actually got a girlfriend. The unexpected news caught me off guard, but a huge smile naturally spread across my face. Congratulations! I am so happy you told me. What kind of girl is she? She is so sweet and really easy to talk to. Being around her makes all my stress from studying just melt away. Is that right? It sounds like you two have a wonderful relationship. Blushing, Tyler talked endlessly about how great his girlfriend was. Seeing him so happy warmed my heart. Given how stressful his junior and senior years were, I was incredibly relieved he had someone close to him for emotional support. But then, his face turned serious. There is a reason I am only telling you, Mom. I actually really do not want Dad or Grandpa and Grandma to find out about her. If they start getting suspicious, can you cover for me? Why keep it a secret? It is happy news, because if they find out I have a girlfriend, I know exactly what they will say. They will tell me to dump her and focus on studying. I just cannot picture them being happy for me. Tyler was absolutely right. Mason and my in-laws had huge expectations for his future. They constantly pressured him, telling him that to become a doctor, he had to get into an elite pre-med program no matter what. If they found out he was dating, they would definitely lecture him about being distracted during the most important year of his life. Worst case scenario, they might try to forcibly break them up. Spring had finally arrived in Tyler's life, and I decided I would protect his secret from the other three at all costs. I will make sure Mason and the others do not find out. Do not worry. Thanks, Mom. I knew you would understand. Looking incredibly relieved, Tyler's expression brightened. I was so scared even you would yell at me for messing around during such a critical time. I would never say that. Studying is important, of course, but this is your last year of high school. I want you to fully enjoy your youth while you can. I will. I will cherish my time with her, but I will keep studying just as hard as always. After giving me the update, Tyler headed back to his room to hit the books. Watching his back, I made a silent vow to protect my son's happiness. About a month after Tyler's confession, I began noticing something extremely strange about Mason's behavior. Mason, are you going somewhere? It was the weekend, and I couldn't help but ask, as I watched him meticulously styling his hair in front of the mirror. Until recently, Mason could not care less about fashion, mostly just slapping down his bedhead with some water. He dressed for comfort and had zero sense of style. Yet suddenly, he was dressing like a model out of a magazine catalog and perfectly gelling his hair. It was bizarre. "You seem really dressed up. Are you meeting someone?" As I tilted my head in confusion, Mason furrowed his brows. "Where I go and who I meet has nothing to do with you, Alice. Why are you asking so many questions?" "No, I was just curious. You have been dressing up a lot lately." "So what? A normal wife would be thrilled her husband is taking care of his appearance. You should try caring about your looks, too, Alice. You look like a miserable old woman." He looked me up and down, then scoffed. It was true, I was in no position to criticize his appearance. Lately, I wore nothing but plain t-shirts and jeans because they were easy to move around in, drowning in chores. I didn't even have time to go to a hair salon, so I just tied my hair back in a messy ponytail every day. Looking in the mirror, even I felt like I had aged 10 years. "Aren't you embarrassed walking outside looking like that, Alice?" "Honestly, I would be ashamed to be seen walking next to you. I want to look nice too, but I just don't have the time or energy right now." "Oh, blaming it on the chores again? You not finding a job and looking like a wreck is somehow all our fault, right?" That is not what I meant. I tried to defend myself, but Mason looked at me with ice in his eyes. He blatantly rolled his eyes. "You constantly blame us and whine all the time. Being around you is depressing, Alice, which is exactly why I leave the house." "Whatever. I do not have time to talk to you." With that, Mason grabbed his keys and rushed out the front door. Lately, he had grown increasingly cruel toward me. When I tried to discuss the division of chores, he ignored me and ganged up on me with his parents. On top of that, he spent every weekend leaving early in the morning and not returning until late at night. Even worse, starting last month, Mason practically glued his smartphone to his hand. He took it to the bathroom and into the shower. Whenever I walked past, he would violently swipe the screen away to hide it. What is wrong? Nothing. He was acting incredibly suspicious, but pressing him yielded zero answers. I heavily suspected he was having an affair. Then, one day, while checking the pockets of a jacket he asked me to take to the dry cleaners, I found a crumpled receipt. Looking closely, I realized Mason had purchased a piece of jewelry from a high-end luxury brand. "Mason, what is this? Why did you buy something this expensive?" "It is for me." The moment I shoved the receipt in his face, his expression completely froze. "Were you digging through my bags without permission?" "No, it was in your jacket pocket." "It is just surprising. Buying luxury jewelry is unlike you, and I have never even seen you wearing it. I do not wear it around the house because it is expensive. Are you suspecting me of something?" Mason glared at me, his eyes wide with hostility. "What I spend my paycheck on is none of your business, Alice. What is wrong with buying a nice accessory for myself?" I did not say there was anything wrong with it. I just asked because it was unusual. "You are just pissed off that I can spend my money however I want. You are a jobless loser, so you do not have a single dollar to your name." He snatched the receipt from my hand, ripped it into tiny shreds, and threw it in the trash. Face beet red, he started screaming at me. "If you want jewelry, go get a job. Let me make one thing clear. I am never spending a dime on you. I am providing for a freeloader, so you better show some gratitude." "Just calm down for a second. Hey, Mason, what is all this yelling?" Hearing the commotion, my in-laws hurried into the living room. They looked at Mason with deep concern. "Mason, are you okay? Did Alice say something horrible to you? Is she harassing you now, on top of harassing us?" Without knowing a single fact, my father-in-law instantly took Mason's side. Of course, no matter how much I objected, they refused to listen. Mason is the man of the house. Alice has no right to complain about how he spends his hard-earned money. I was not complaining. "Learn your place, Alice. You are only surviving because of us. Mom and Dad are right. You have no right to defy us, Alice. Just shut your mouth." Pinned down by their collective glares, my words died in my throat. I could not interrogate him any further and had no choice but to back down. However, a week later, as I was walking past Mason's bedroom at night, I could not believe my ears. "You are so cute, Mia. I cannot wait to see you again." I heard him whispering. He was clearly on a phone call. Hearing his sickeningly sweet tone, I knew for a fact he was having an affair. The woman's name was Mia. Judging by his voice and the nature of the conversation, She was definitely not a friend or a coworker. My entire body shook with rage. I had the overwhelming urge to kick the door open and confront him right then and there. But I didn't have solid proof of infidelity. If I cornered him now, he would just manipulate his parents into taking his side and gaslight me. Taking a deep breath, I quietly stepped away from his door so he wouldn't catch me eavesdropping. A few days later, Mason dropped another bomb. I am cutting down the grocery budget starting this month. He had always deposited a set amount into our joint account for groceries and daily necessities, but now he wanted to slash it. When I saw the pathetic amount he left for groceries, I felt dizzy. Wait, this is it? There are 5 people in this family. This will not cover anything. Stop being so selfish. We need to save money for Tyler's college tuition, so we have to tighten our belts. Just make it work. I am already being as frugal as possible, but there is a limit. We need to at least secure enough to buy basic food. Mason immediately looked disgusted. This is all your fault for being unemployed, Alice. If you had a job, we would not have to cut back. If you are mad, go blame your parents for shutting down their bakery. He scoffed loudly and glued his eyes back to his phone. Mason was undoubtedly funneling his money to his mistress. That expensive jewelry receipt from before was absolutely a gift for her. That was why he had no money left. I was certain of it, but confronting him now would only end in him denying everything. Left with no other option, I clipped coupons, bought the cheapest ingredients, and somehow managed to keep us fed. But the money Mason provided was nowhere near enough. I had to secretly dip into my own savings to keep the household running. Honestly, I wanted to tell someone about my nightmare, but I refused to burden my parents. My only ally was Tyler, and he was in the most critical academic period of his life. I kept all my pain bottled up inside and suffered through the days alone. A month later, Tyler, who had been happily dating his girlfriend, came to me looking troubled. Hey, Mom, I should probably buy my girlfriend a gift, right? Where is this coming from? Is her birthday coming up? Yeah, but it is not just that. Listening to him, it turned out his girlfriend had been begging him for a specific present. Tyler went to a high school that strictly banned part-time jobs, and while I gave him a monthly allowance, his savings were tiny. Because of that, he could not afford what she wanted. What is it that she wants? I do not really know much about this stuff, but it is some kind of makeup. Tyler showed me a picture on his phone. It was an incredibly expensive, high-end cosmetics brand. Is this what high schoolers are buying these days? I wondered, but the price tag was definitely not something a student could afford. Tyler kept talking about her, but as I listened, I began to feel deeply unsettled. For a high school girl, she seemed absurdly materialistic. It was not just makeup. She constantly pointed out expensive clothes, demanding, I want this for my next present. I see. I really want to buy it for her to make her happy. But I cannot afford a $300 dress. There was nothing wrong with a teenage girl liking fashion, but demanding a teenage boy buy it for her was completely abnormal. Furthermore, Tyler mentioned she was constantly interrogating him about his future career path. She asks me what kind of hospital I want to work at when I become a doctor, and exactly how much my salary will be. Honestly, I cannot even answer half her questions yet. Really, asking about his future income at this age seemed way too early. Was she only dating him because he was going to be a doctor? The suspicion crossed my mind for a second, but I quickly shook it off. Tyler loved and trusted this girl deeply. Planting seeds of doubt and making him anxious would be cruel. Why don't you explain the situation to her and tell her you will save up for her birthday or Christmas? Then you can buy her what she wants. Yeah, you are right. Thanks for the advice, Mom. Not wanting to interfere with his studies, I decided to just watch from the sidelines for now. A month later, in August, Tyler left for an intensive 2-week college prep summer boot camp organized by his tutoring center. Looking at the schedule, he was going to be studying over 10 hours a day. Good luck, Tyler. Just don't push yourself too hard. I drove him to the train station to see him off. He smiled and nodded deeply. Thanks, Mom. A lot of my friends are going too, so we will push each other. You are keeping your phone off during the camp, right? Yeah. I am too scared. I will lose focus if I look at it. Well, if there is an emergency, just send me a text message at least. Got it. To discipline himself, Tyler had vowed to keep his phone powered down. I was a little worried, but I wanted to support his dedication to resisting temptation. Smiling, I waved him off. Have a great time. Honestly, returning to an empty house without him filled me with dread. With my only ally gone, I knew my in-laws would likely ramp up their tyrannical behavior. but it was only for 2 weeks. I braced myself and walked through the front door. I am home. Huh? The moment I stepped inside, I couldn't believe my eyes. There was a strange pair of sandals in the entryway. Based on the design, they belonged to a young woman. Did we have a guest? Confused, I headed up the stairs to the second-floor living room. When I opened the door, a completely unbelievable sight awaited me. Oh, you are back. Welcome home. Nice to meet you. Sitting right there on my sofa was Mason, cuddling with a young girl I had never seen before. They had their arms wrapped around each other, openly flirting. And the girl, she didn't look a day over 19. Trembling, I spoke up. Who is this? Why is she in our house? And Mason, aren't you supposed to be at work? I came home early because I have something incredibly important to tell you, Alice. This is my girlfriend, Mia. She is 18 years old. Girlfriend? 18? Seeing my jaw drop in horror, the girl named Mia narrowed her eyes with a smirk. She is a senior in high school, Alice. What? Mason and I have been dating for 2 months now. Sorry to shock you, Mrs. Carter. Are you out of your mind? You are having an affair with a girl the exact same age as your son? That is sickening. Age doesn't matter when it comes to true love. I am seriously in love with Mia. No matter how old she is, my feelings will never change. Staring deeply into Mia's eyes, Mason proudly declared his love right in front of my face. Then, Mia gently rubbed her stomach and smiled. I am so happy. I love you too, Mason, no matter how old you are. Let us build a happy family together. Just the 3 of us. The 3 of you? Mia is pregnant with my child. So Alice, sign these divorce papers immediately. Looking incredibly smug, Mason slammed a set of divorce papers onto the coffee table. He had already signed his portion. He had preyed on an 18-year-old high schooler and gotten her pregnant. His utter lack of human decency terrified me. Mason, do you even comprehend what you are doing? You have completely betrayed our family. I haven't betrayed anyone. I just want to protect Mia. She is only 18. I have to stay by her side and take care of her. I know this is a shock, Mrs. Carter, but my baby needs a daddy. So please, divorce Mason. Keeping her hand on her stomach, Mia stared at me. She tried to make her face look apologetic, but the corners of her mouth were twitching upward in a smirk. Now that Mia is here, a jobless hag like you is completely useless, Alice. Sign the papers and get out of this house immediately. Mia, are you insane? You actually want to marry a man old enough to be your father? Even if she was pregnant, I could not fathom an 18-year-old girl choosing a man in his 40s. I glared at her suspiciously. But Mia just gripped Mason's hand and smiled. I told you, I do not care about his age. I am deeply in love with Mason. Give it up, Alice. We are soulmates. I do not feel a single drop of love for you anymore, so do not even try to tear us apart. Fine. I understand. I picked up a pen and signed the divorce papers. Wow, you gave up fast. I expected you to scream and cry about being thrown out. I never want to spend another second with you. I cannot even stand breathing the same air as you. I will pack my bags and leave immediately. Really? Thank you so much. Her eyes sparkling, Mia laughed together with Mason. Ignoring the 2 of them, I went straight to the bedroom and started packing alone. I had not wanted to burden my parents, but I had absolutely no choice now. I planned to move back into my childhood home. Suddenly, I heard loud footsteps rushing up the stairs from the first floor. It was my father-in-law. Mason! Mia! How did it go? Are you getting the divorce? Yeah, she just signed the papers. Once I file this at the courthouse and we get our marriage license, we will officially be husband and wife. Oh, thank goodness. We finally get to kick that lazy old hag out of our house. And now we get such a young, beautiful daughter-in-law to replace her. Ah, this house is going to be so lively now. My father-in-law loudly congratulated Mason, not caring at all that I could hear every word. It seemed both my in-laws knew all about his sickening affair. I was boiling with rage, but screaming at them now would not change a thing. I silently finished packing my suitcases. Once I was done, I walked downstairs to check the first floor. The moment I looked into the dining room, I gasped. The 4 of them had laid out a massive spread of catered barbecue, sliders, and a giant charcuterie board on the table, throwing a grand party. Thank you so much for joining our family, Mia. Eat as much as you want today. This is a celebration of your marriage. After all, we will go to the courthouse to file everything right after this. Hey, what are you staring at? You aren't a part of this family anymore. My in-laws glared at me like I was a piece of trash. They probably thought I had come down to attack Mia. Stay away from her. I will protect Mia. Mason, you are so brave. Shoo, go away. Mia, sweetie, just ignore that miserable woman. Watching the four of them act like hyperactive children, my shoulders slumped. My in-laws were just high on the thrill of getting a teenage bride in the family. I only came down here because I have something to tell you. When Tyler gets back from his prep camp, I am taking him with me. There was no way in hell I was leaving Tyler with this deranged family. If he found out his father's new wife was his exact age, he would be traumatized. I declared that I would take full custody of him. Instantly, the joyful faces of my ex-husband's family twisted in anger. What kind of stupid joke is that? Tyler is my son and the heir to the Carter family. You are never taking him. Exactly. Tyler is our precious grandson. You just want to keep him because he is going to be a rich doctor. But we will not let you. He belongs to us. They loudly proclaimed they would never hand Tyler over. But amidst the screaming, for some reason, Mia was the only one who looked deeply uncomfortable. I found her reaction strange, but arguing with my ex-in-laws right now would solve nothing. The most important person, Tyler, was not even here. We will decide this after confirming how Tyler feels about it. I calmly walked back to my room, grabbed my suitcases, and headed for the front door. Mia, let us head to the courthouse. Okay, we are really going to be a family, Mason. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad. Oh, you are so welcome. Mia, you are just too cute. Ignoring the sickening voices behind me, I walked out the door. I never thought my hellish life would end this abruptly. I sent a text message to Tyler's powered-off phone explaining everything, and then called my mother. When I arrived at my parents' house, they welcomed me with open arms. The moment they heard what happened, they were utterly enraged at my ex-husband's family, telling me I was incredibly lucky to be rid of them. Eating my mother's home-cooked food for the first time in ages, my eyes filled with tears. I am so sorry to both of you. And thank you. Thanks to their support, I felt I could finally move forward. However, alongside my gratitude, I was consumed with worry for Tyler. Right now, he was isolated at a camp, studying his heart out. He had no idea we were divorced or that his father was marrying a high schooler. When he learned the truth, how devastated would he be? 13 days after the divorce, Tyler's prep camp ended, and he finally called me. Mom, camp is over. Thanks for the text message. His voice was incredibly dark and entirely devoid of energy. Good job, honey. I'm so sorry. All of this happened while you were away. You do not need to apologize, Mom. Dad and the others are the ones who ruined everything. Where are you right now? I will come pick you up. I could not let Tyler go back to that house with my ex-in-laws. I told him he should come live with me at his grandparents' house. But his reply shocked me. I actually just left Dad's house. I think I am just going to walk to the train station. Wait, Tyler, did you see your father and grandparents? I had assumed he read my text message and called me immediately, but he had actually gone straight home without telling me. I hated the idea of not saying anything to them. I thought I needed to go there and scream at them on your behalf. You were thinking about me? I am so sorry you had to deal with that. I cannot believe you walked right into that house alone. Do not worry about it. Honestly, part of me couldn't even believe it was real. I thought maybe it was some kind of horrible joke you were playing on me. When Tyler first read my message, he was in total disbelief. That was why he went straight to the house to confirm the truth with his own eyes. I completely understood why he doubted it. Hearing your father married a girl your own age would sound like absolute insanity to anyone. But what awaited Tyler at that house was a living nightmare. The second Dad saw me, he introduced her. He literally said, "Tyler, meet your new mom." My ex-in-laws had welcomed Tyler home with massive, creepy smiles. Standing right next to Mason was Mia. Seeing Tyler completely frozen in confusion, Mason had looked incredibly smug. Good job at camp. I have some amazing news for you. I actually got remarried. Look, it is our new family member, Mia. But Mia had looked incredibly awkward, immediately averting her eyes from Tyler. Tyler was so stunned he couldn't speak. The delusional in-laws did not even notice the bizarre tension between the two teenagers. I never in a million years thought Mia would be standing in my living room. Dad and Grandpa didn't seem to know anything. Wait, Tyler, did you know her? Hearing his voice violently trembling, I couldn't help but ask. In a fragile, broken whisper, he confessed the truth. Mia is my girlfriend. What? The teenage bride my ex-husband had just married was the exact same girlfriend Tyler had told me about. I was so paralyzed by the shock I couldn't form words. Through the phone, I could hear Tyler sobbing, his voice cracking with grief. Mia and I are in the same grade. We were in the same class last year too. And this spring, she confessed her feelings to me. It turned out she attended the exact same high school as Tyler. As classmates, they had grown close and eventually started dating. Tyler told me he genuinely, deeply loved her. Mia was always so sweet to me. We promised to push each other to study hard. I thought even after high school, Mia and I would be together forever. But she didn't actually love me at all. Do Mason and the others know Mia was— I do not think so. They looked super confused by how we were reacting. The moment Tyler saw Mia, he had tried to confront her. Mia, you are marrying my dad? What the hell is going on? And Dad, why the hell did you divorce Mom while I was gone? Tyler's fury naturally turned toward Mason. But even as Tyler screamed at him, Mason just tilted his head in annoyance. Hey, keep your voice down. Mia has a baby in her tummy. Stop stressing her out. A baby? Mia, you are pregnant with my dad's kid? Tyler, do not call her by her first name just because you are the same age. She is married to me now, which means Mia is your mother. That is right, Mia. We are so sorry Tyler is being so disrespectful. We will punish him later. Watching Tyler explode in anger, my father-in-law had rolled his eyes in disgust. Does this mean you were having an affair with Mia? And Grandpa, did you guys know about this? Yeah, he came to us for advice. Honestly, having that jobless parasite in the house was a nightmare for us too. When Mason told us he was dating Mia, we were thrilled. Tyler, aren't you happy you have such a young, pretty mom now? Way better than that old mooch, right? Once the baby is born, our house is going to be so loud and fun. How can you possibly think like that? Dad, you completely betrayed Mom. Do you even realize how much she sacrificed for all of us? No one in that family had ever appreciated the chores I did. But Tyler had always seen my struggles. He could not forgive them for driving me out of the house, having an affair, kicking Mom out, and treating her like trash. You people are sick, Tyler screamed at the top of his lungs, condemning the entire family. But the three adults just sneered at him with mocking smiles. They felt absolutely zero guilt toward me. It was tragically exactly the reaction I expected. We do not recall your mother ever sacrificing anything for us. She had no job and couldn't even clean the house right. Besides, this is our house. Since they got divorced, it is only natural Alice gets thrown out on the street. I am done. I am leaving too. There is no way in hell I am living with Dad and Mia. Utterly disgusted by his laughing grandparents, Tyler gave up on them. He immediately started packing his bags, declaring he was coming to live with me. But the family tried to physically block him. They refused to let go of the boy who was going to become a wealthy doctor. Tyler, you are my son. Alice is a total stranger now, so just forget about her. You are going to live here with us. If you rely on your jobless mother, you are going to suffer. Her parents are totally broke too. You need money for pre-med, right? I am the one paying for it. So do not do something stupid, Tyler. Stay here with us. The three of them crept closer to Tyler, flashing incredibly creepy smiles. Yet, he still adamantly refused to stay. Having his father marry his girlfriend and being forced to live under the same roof with them was psychological torture. Tyler told them that and tried to leave for my house. But Mia's face looked so terrifying. I got too scared to say anything about our relationship. Wait, so you didn't tell Mason about you and Mia? When Tyler opened his mouth to expose her, Mia glared at him with dead, piercing eyes, silently threatening him to keep his mouth shut. Her expression was so menacing he had frozen in fear. Yeah. So I just kept that a secret and told them I was going to Mom's house. But they wouldn't listen. And Grandpa and Grandma physically blocked the door to trap me inside. Despite their efforts, Tyler managed to shove past his grandparents and bolt out of the house. Mom, if you come near the house right now and run into Dad and the others, it is going to be a disaster. So please, just meet me at the train station. I will be safe once I get there. Okay, Tyler. Thank you so much for standing up for me. I am leaving right now. I am going to end them. What? Tyler suddenly muttered in a dangerously low voice. It was quiet, but practically vibrating with rage. I gasped in shock. End them? What do you mean? I mean exactly what I said. Dad, Grandpa, Grandma, and Mia. I will destroy them. I am going to make them regret betraying us for the rest of their lives. Even through the phone, I could hear Tyler breathing heavily. He had been betrayed not just by his father, but by the girl he loved. His anger and grief were immeasurable, but I was terrified Tyler might do something reckless and ruin his own life. I understand how you feel, Tyler, but please do not do anything dangerous. You are in a critical period for college, and do not worry, Mom. I won't do anything that causes trouble for you. I cannot let Dad and Mia get away with this and live happily ever after. I just can't. Tyler groaned in pure frustration. He was usually so gentle. It was incredibly rare for him to become this emotional. I felt a sudden fear of what he might be capable of, but he wasn't the only one suffering. I hesitated for a moment, but ultimately decided to help him. If that is the case, I will help you. I am not letting you carry this burden alone. Wait, Mom, I can't drag you into I am furious too. At Mason, at your grandparents for treating me like a slave, and at the girl who broke your heart. And then, I revealed a secret I had been keeping from him. Actually, Tyler, I hired a private investigator a while ago to track Mason. I already have concrete evidence of his affair with Mia. Wait, you knew Dad was cheating? He started acting suspicious a while ago, and I had a bad feeling. When I had the PI look into him, my suspicions were confirmed. Tyler was completely speechless. Through the PI's report, I had known about the affair and the fact that the mistress was a high school girl. Because she was a minor, I had been hesitating on how to approach the legal fallout. But looking back, there was no reason to hold back. Regardless of her age, she knowingly had an affair with a married man. If you knew Dad was cheating, you should have told me. I am so sorry. I didn't want to stress you out right before your exams. But I never in a million years imagined his mistress was your girlfriend. Because Mia was so young, I had planned to move cautiously, but now that she had completely shattered my son's heart, I had zero intention of showing mercy. I have high-resolution photos of them walking into a hotel. Can we use those? I will do absolutely anything for you, Tyler. Thank you, Mom. Once we meet up, let us form a plan. I will do anything for you, too. His voice sounded vastly brighter than before. For both his sake and mine, I solidified my resolve to drag my ex-in-laws and Mia straight to hell. 1 month passed. Summer vacation ended, and Tyler was commuting to his high school from my parents' house. It was close enough that the commute wasn't a problem. However, my ex-in-laws were relentlessly calling his phone. They kept calling me an ungrateful brat, which pissed me off. But I couldn't just block their numbers because of our plan. I am sorry I am making you endure this, Tyler. Do not worry about it. I just ignore them anyway. Desperate to drag Tyler back, they even tried calling me. However, I explicitly told them Tyler was refusing to live with them, and I hung up. Because Tyler was by my side, I found the strength to keep looking forward. I was endlessly grateful to him. By the way, Mia had stopped coming to high school. Whether it was because she was too awkward to face Tyler or because of her pregnancy, no one knew. She might just drop out. Not that I care anymore. Since she was married to Mason, she probably felt no need to graduate. Amidst all this, Tyler informed me that Mason and Mia were holding a wedding ceremony. I actually got an invitation in the mail. Look, naturally, I was not invited. The fact that Mason invited Tyler proved he still had no idea about Tyler and Mia's past relationship. What are you going to do, Tyler? I am going. Obviously, we will never get a perfect chance like this again. You should come with me. Mom, you are right. I cannot let you walk into that alone. Looking into Tyler's determined eyes, I nodded. We began finalizing the ultimate plan for the wedding day. The day of the ceremony arrived. I watched Tyler enter the venue with his invitation, and then I waited out of sight in the lobby. According to Tyler's text messages, it was a small wedding with only family and close friends, but almost all the attendees were on the groom's side. The only person who showed up for the bride was Mia's mother. As we texted, I finally received the signal. Come in. Stealing my nerves, I stormed into the banquet hall. The moment I threw the doors open, every single guest turned to look at me. Seeing my sudden appearance, my ex-in-law's eyes practically popped out of their skulls. Hey, why the hell is Alice here? Get out right now. You aren't invited. No outsiders allowed. Why is the ex-wife crashing the wedding? Security. Someone throw this woman out immediately. My apologies. I will leave shortly. The three of them screamed at the top of their lungs, desperately trying to get me kicked out. But Tyler completely ignored them, taking a firm stand at the front of the room. I apologize for the disruption. I am the one who invited my mother. She is essential for the presentation I am about to give. Moving swiftly, Tyler connected his phone to the venue's projector system and pulled down the massive screen. Tyler, what the hell is the meaning of this? Why did you bring Alice here? Are you trying to ruin my big day? Dad, just calm down. Since we are all here, Mom and I wanted to give you a joint congratulatory gift. I quietly walked up and stood next to Tyler, giving a polite nod to the confused crowd. The guests were murmuring, but their curiosity about the presentation won out. All eyes naturally drifted to the massive projector screen. Tyler displayed a single photograph. For this special day, I put together a little slideshow of the bride and groom's memories. Dad, Mia, I hope you enjoy it. The image projected on the screen was a selfie of Tyler and Mia, cuddling closely together. Both were wearing their high school gear, smiling brightly. The moment Mason saw the picture, his jaw hit the floor. What is this? Why the hell is there a picture of you and Mia? Wait, Tyler. Mia frantically jumped out of her seat, but Tyler completely ignored her. Until just 1 month ago, I was in a serious relationship with the bride, Mia. She is my classmate, and she was the one who asked me out. The entire room of relatives gasped in unison. Some glared at Mason, demanding an explanation. But Mason had been entirely clueless until this exact second. Mia, is this true? You were dating Tyler? Please tell me this is a joke. I never heard anything about this. He turned to Mia, who had gone completely pale. Ignoring the two of them, Tyler switched to the next photo. And this is a picture of Mia having an affair with my dad. At this time, my dad was still legally married to my mom. The screen displayed massive, high-resolution surveillance photos provided by the private investigator. It clearly showed Mason and Mia walking out of a hotel together. Now it was Mason's turn to turn ghost white. Tyler, why do you have something like this? I gave him the private investigator's report. Mason, you were taking Mia out on dates constantly, weren't you? You even left work early just to match her high school dismissal time. The photo of them leaving the hotel was dated roughly 3 months ago. The entire room of guests stared at the groom with absolute disgust. By the way, on the exact same day this photo was taken, Mia and I took a picture together too. Look right here. Tyler projected another photo of him and Mia. In the picture, Mia was wearing the exact same outfit and had the exact same hairstyle as she did in the hotel photo with Mason. She probably went straight to a hotel with my dad immediately after hanging out with me. I never imagined I was being two-timed by my own father. No, that is not true. It is just a coincidence I was wearing the same clothes. Even if it is, the fact remains that you were dating both me and my dad at the exact same time. Do you have any proof to deny it? Mia's mouth clamped shut. There was no way she could prove she wasn't two-timing them. Yet, somehow, Mason still desperately clung to his belief in Mia. Mia, this is a lie, right? Tyler was just a classmate, right? You just couldn't tell me you knew my son because it was too awkward, right? Mason grabbed her shoulders and shook her, begging for validation. Then, Tyler projected a massive screenshot of a text message thread onto the screen. These are my text messages with Mia. It is kind of embarrassing, but I will let you read them, Dad. After seeing this, do you still think we were just classmates? Mason's eyes widened in horror as he read the massive text on the screen. I love you so much, Tyler. Where should we go next? I want to be together even after we graduate. It was a typical, cringy, high school romance thread. But for Tyler, projecting it in front of a crowd must have been agonizing. Tragic, isn't it? I was the only one who actually loved her. Mia, you sent my dad the exact same kind of messages, didn't you? No, that is. Mia, were you lying when you said you only loved me? You begged me to marry you. Mason's voice violently trembled as he interrogated her. Mia looked away, refusing to answer. The guests in the crowd began aggressively whispering, "What a trashy girl. She slept with her own boyfriend's dad." They were tearing the bride and groom apart. Suddenly, Mason lunged forward and grabbed the microphone out of Tyler's hand. Tyler, are you just doing this to harass us because you are jealous Mia dumped you? I do not care about her past. She chose me. If you got dumped, take it like a man and back off. Tyler easily dodged him and clicked to the next slide. I am not jealous. I am just profoundly disgusted by both you and Mia. To think you two met through such a pathetic, miserable lie. The next image projected on the screen was a social media profile. The moment he saw it, Mason's entire body violently flinched. What is this? CEO? The in-laws and the guests squinted at the screen in confusion. Meanwhile, Mia stared at the floor. The Instagram profile bio read, "Six-figure CEO making $500,000 a year." The profile picture was a man facing away from the camera. But there was something incredibly familiar about him. This is Dad's account. You can tell by looking at the profile picture. He has the exact same mole on the back of his neck. Instantly, every single eye in the room locked onto the back of Mason's neck. He frantically slapped his hand over his neck to hide it, but his sheer panic practically proved it was his account. "I had no idea. Dad, you are a CEO? You make $500,000 a year? Mason, what does this mean? You are not a CEO, and that bio definitely does not match your real life. Is someone just using your photo? Are you being impersonated?" My confused in-laws grilled Mason. Mason was a completely average corporate employee, making a perfectly average, middle-class salary, meaning he had completely fabricated his identity on social media to look rich. The relatives, finally understanding the situation, let out massive sighs of secondhand embarrassment. "So your job and your salary were completely fake. You were just trying to act like a big shot, huh?" Tyler looked at Mason with sheer pity. "This account isn't mine. Someone made it to frame me." Just like Mom said, it is an impersonator. You should really stop lying. If anyone looks at the posts on this account, they will know it is you immediately, Dad. Tyler clicked the presentation remote again. The fake CEO account was filled with deeply personal posts complaining about his family. "My unemployed wife is such a parasite. Her parents' bakery went bankrupt, and now she leeches off me. There were complaints about me, and there were also bragging posts about his son. My son is a genius. He is going to pre-med to become a doctor." Every single post contained information only someone inside our family could possibly know. For an impersonator, they sure know an awful lot about our private lives. Are you really going to stand there and tell us this isn't you? Mason, you were doing something this pathetic? What is the point of lying to strangers on the internet? My father-in-law turned beet red and screamed at Mason. Being humiliated in front of the entire family was clearly driving him insane. Meanwhile, Mia kept her head down, refusing to speak. "Mia found this account and slid into your DMs, didn't she? She thought you were a rich CEO and wanted your money." "Mia, that is not true, right? You fell in love with me for who I am inside, right? Are you still living in a fantasy world? Mia only dated you because she thought you were rich. She doesn't love you at all." Tyler's voice was ice cold. Mason grimaced. He still desperately wanted to believe in Mia. "You do not understand Mia at all, Tyler. She genuinely loves me. That is why she DM'd me saying she wanted to meet. Shut your mouth." Suddenly, Mia shrieked at the top of her lungs, cutting Mason off. Mason frantically slapped his hands over his mouth, but it was too late. He had just accidentally confessed that they met through social media. "So you really did meet on Instagram?" Tyler glared at her. "How did Tyler even find your account, Mason? You didn't tell anyone in the family about it." "I knew Mia's Instagram handle, so I just manually went through every single person she was following. And right there, I found a guy who looked exactly like Dad." To figure out how the two of them connected, Tyler had scrubbed through her social media. As a result, he found the fake CEO account. Mia clearly never expected a teenager to do that level of forensic investigation. "You psycho. Why couldn't you just mind your own business?" Mia's face twisted in pure disgust. Then, she slowly turned her gaze to Mason. "Mason, is it true your job and salary are fake? You aren't really a CEO? Mia, did you seriously not know his real job until right now? You mean to tell me you have been lying to her this entire time, Mason? So that is why you told me never to ask your parents about your work." Mia's vocabulary grew increasingly vulgar. She had been playing the sweet, innocent girl this entire time, but the moment she realized he was broke, her true colors showed. "This is the worst. What was the point of marrying an old creep like you? I only married you because I thought you were loaded." Mia. Seeing a face he had never seen before, Mason's eyes went wide. "Are you mad? I am sorry. I apologize for lying. But you aren't just a gold digger, right? You still love me, right?" "Huh? As if I could ever love you. I only married you because you were a CEO. Did you seriously? Honestly think a girl like me would love an old man like you?" "Mia. Please, do not be mad." Mason desperately tried to grab her hand, but Mia violently slapped it away. "Do not touch me. You are disgusting." "Ugh, If I knew this was going to happen, I would have just suffered through dating Tyler a little longer. Mia, what are you saying? The in-laws and the relatives stared at Mia in absolute horror. Tyler glared daggers at her. So you only dated me for my money too, Mia? Because I want to be a doctor. You thought I would be rich in the future? Duh. You are smart. Even if you failed pre-med, I knew you would get a high-paying corporate job. I figured if I locked you down now, I wouldn't have to worry about other girls stealing you. Finally showing her true nature, Mia let out an evil smirk. She had dated Tyler purely as a long-term investment, thinking marrying him would guarantee her a life of luxury. But you were such a massive disappointment, Tyler. You never bought me a single nice present. We are high schoolers. Our school literally bans part-time jobs. There is a limit to what I can buy you. I thought you understood that. You gotta date a girl as cute as me. You should have broken your back to buy me designer bags and makeup. Mason, on the other hand, bought me every single thing I asked for. It seemed Mia had grown sick of Tyler, who couldn't buy her expensive gifts, and went looking for a CEO sugar daddy instead. So, she found an account claiming to have a massive income on Instagram and slid into his DMs. But I never in a million years thought Mason was your dad, Tyler. And lying about your income and your job, manipulating an innocent high school girl is practically a crime. She bit her lip in frustration and shot Mason a freezing glare. You bought me everything I wanted. Was that all just an act to keep up your fake CEO lie? I just wanted to see you smile, Mia. This is pathetic. Mason, you literally forced us to cut our grocery budget just so you could keep up your fake rich guy act. I had fully suspected he was funneling money to his mistress, but I never imagined he was role-playing as a millionaire CEO. Mason prioritized buying designer bags for a teenager over feeding his own family. Learning the truth made my blood boil. While I was burning through my own savings to feed us, Mason was buying Mia luxury bags and jewelry? Wait, Alice was paying for the groceries? My completely clueless in-laws looked around in a panic. Does this mean Alice wasn't a freeloader? She wasn't surviving off Mason's paycheck? The tiny grocery allowance Mason gave me wasn't nearly enough to survive on. I had to pull from my own bank account to keep us fed. And despite that, Grandma and Grandpa forced Mom to do every single chore in the house like a slave. Do you finally realize how horribly you treated my mom? We had no idea. My in-laws stuttered out pathetic excuses, refusing to admit they were wrong. The relatives shot the bride, groom, and in-laws looks of absolute disgust. Mia glared at me with pure hatred, while Mason's entire body shook uncontrollably. The wedding was already completely destroyed. As the room erupted into chaos, a single woman shot up from the family seating area. She stomped straight toward us, glaring with the intensity of a demon. Mom, it was Mia's mother, Renee Miller. Mason, I trusted you to take care of my daughter. And you lied to her. Cornered by Renee, Mason turned pale and frantically tried to calm her down. Renee, please calm down. I admit I lied about my job, but I truly believed Mia loved me regardless of my money. She is devastated because she was betrayed by the man she loved. You completely ruined my daughter's life. You are going to take responsibility for this. Are you okay, Mia? Renee gently placed her hand on Mia's shoulder. Taking her cue, Mia immediately started aggressively fake crying. I cannot be married to Mason anymore. I can never trust him again. I thought I could be so happy with him. She covered her face with her hands, loudly broadcasting to the room that Mason was the villain who broke her heart. Seeing Mia flip from an evil gold digger to a sobbing victim in less than a second left the groom's side of the family completely speechless. Mia, let us divorce Mason right now. Mason, I am going to sue you for everything you have. Huh? Sue me? Why? Isn't it obvious? Because you are a con artist who defrauded my daughter. To protect her, as her mother, I will make sure you pay for your crimes. Renee, please, let us be reasonable. Mason was just trying to look cool. He was going to tell her the truth eventually, right? My mother-in-law desperately tried to defend Mason, but Renee pointed a furious finger right at her. Eventually? Do not make me laugh. He was planning on lying to her forever as long as he didn't get caught. He thought he could manipulate her because she is young. I admit Mason was in the wrong. But there is no need for a divorce. What are you going to do about the baby in Mia's stomach? Exactly. I want to raise my child with Mia. Mia, you understand how I feel, right? I will never make you suffer. I swear I will change and I will never lie again. Mason dropped his head low, begging Mia. Having managed to marry a young, beautiful teenager, he was terrified of letting her go. He absolutely refused to accept a divorce. But Mia ignored him completely and clung to Renee. Mom, I do not want to have Mason's baby. Because of this pregnancy, I cannot even go to high school. I know, sweetheart. I understand exactly how you feel, so do not worry. Divorce Mason right now. You do not have to give birth to his child. What are you talking about? She is finally pregnant. Mia, Mason is truly sorry. My in-laws desperately tried to persuade Mia, but Renee aggressively shot them down. Since Mia doesn't want it, I will not let her give birth. We will bill you for the medical procedures later. Please wait. That is my baby too. I want to have a child with Mia. I am begging you. Mason dropped to his knees, pressing his forehead against the floor, sobbing as he begged. Seeing him do this, my in-laws also bowed their heads. Mia, please, we will treat you like royalty. We will help you raise the baby. We will completely forgive you for targeting Mason for his money. Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how traumatized my daughter is? The pregnancy is being terminated immediately. The abortion fees, the emotional distress lawsuit, and the cancellation fees for this wedding venue. You are paying for every single cent of it. Screaming at the top of her lungs, Renee completely cornered my ex-husband's family. She grabbed the fake-crying Mia and tried to storm out of the banquet hall. Mason panicked and tried to grab them. I love Mia. I will not accept canceling the marriage. Mia, tell me your true feelings. Mia just told you. She refuses to be your wife. But watching Mason and Renee scream at each other, the relatives froze in pure shock. The previously chaotic room fell dead silent. Everyone was too appalled to even speak. Then, Renee suddenly turned her furious gaze toward Tyler and me. And you two, putting up those ridiculous pictures to humiliate Mia. You are just as guilty. Everything on that screen was the truth. Mia was dating Mason and Tyler at the exact same time. Do you not have a single apology for the fact that your daughter was having an affair with a married man? The affair is your fault for being a defective wife. I understand you are jealous that Mason chose her, but Mia did nothing wrong. Mia betrayed me too. Are you really saying we are the bad guys here? Tyler scowled, glaring at Renee. She just flashed a creepy, sickening smile. I suppose I feel a tiny bit bad for you, Tyler. But right now, Mia is suffering because her beloved husband betrayed her. Are you really so petty that you are demanding an apology from a traumatized girl? No matter the context, Mia is the one in the wrong here. I have never received a single apology from her, and I demand one right now. Ruining my daughter's wedding and then demanding an apology? Your entire family is completely insane. Renee's eyes shot open with rage as she pointed violently at us. I am done playing nice. I am suing you two for emotional distress as well. You are going to pay for humiliating me and Mia? We are going to pay you? In what universe does that make sense? Tyler scoffed in disbelief. I couldn't help but rub my temples. The one who will be paying a massive settlement is Mia. She knowingly slept with a married man. No matter what you say, Renee, that fact will not change. She is just a high schooler. How dare you demand money from a child? And by the way, Renee, why did you so easily approve of your high school daughter getting married in the first place? When I asked her in a flat, emotionless tone, Renee broke eye contact. The entire premise of this marriage was deeply unnatural. Any normal mother would violently object if her teenage daughter brought home a man old enough to be her father. At the very least, they would force them to wait until she graduated. Yet Renee had happily signed the consent forms. Her thought process was entirely incomprehensible to me. Renee, did you approve of her marrying Mason purely for his money, just like Mia did? Of course not. I simply respected the man my daughter chose. I promised myself I would support her regardless of who he was. Even though she is only a high school senior, if I opposed them over age, it would only make their romance burn brighter. I thought it was safer to just approve. She rattled off her excuses, but Renee's face was visibly twitching with panic. Actually, Renee, I happen to be friends with a mom whose daughter went to the same elementary and middle school as Mia. I asked her quite a lot of questions about you recently. What? Were you trying to dig up dirt on Mia? Your family is absolute scum. I couldn't really find any dirt on Mia, but I did hear some extremely fascinating rumors about you, Renee. The moment I said that, Renee jumped as if she had been electrocuted. I do not know what rumors you heard, but they are all lies. She tried to act tough, but she was visibly sweating. She knew exactly what I was talking about. The truth was, Renee was infamous among the local PTA and had caused countless scandals since Mia was a little girl. Renee, the rumor is that you have a habit of sleeping with other women's husbands and then lying to them that you got pregnant. And then you extort them for abortion money and hush money by threatening to expose the affair to their wives. That is absurd. Who told you such a ridiculous lie? She stammered, desperately trying to deny it. But the woman who told me the rumor wasn't the type to lie. In fact, she was one of Renee's victims. She found out her husband was sleeping with you, Renee, and divorced him immediately. She is raising her daughter as a single mom now. Do you have any idea who I am talking about? I have no idea. I have never had an affair. She told me you have slept with so many married men in this town that you probably couldn't even narrow it down. Seems she was right, since you cannot guess who she is. Those are all lies. I am innocent, Renee screamed, desperately pleading her innocence. But given the current situation, no one in the room believed her. The guests just stared at her with icy contempt. My ex-in-laws stood frozen, utterly speechless. Amidst it all, only Mia looked up at her mother with teary eyes, trying to defend her. My mom doesn't have affairs. Stop spreading weird rumors. Mia, do you really know the truth and are just covering for her? Or are you genuinely clueless? What? Mia's face instantly darkened. Judging by her reaction, Renee had hidden her extortion ring from her daughter. I stated the name of my friend's daughter out loud. Renee didn't seem to recognize the name, but Mia audibly gasped. I remember. That girl started completely ignoring me one day. She must have known her dad was sleeping with your mom. It must have been agonizing for her. That is why she refused to ever come to my house. Mom, is the affair true? I keep telling you it is a lie. Why are you believing this woman over your own mother? Renee snapped, screaming at her own daughter. She was determined to take her lies to the grave. But Mia's face grew darker and darker. Now that I think about it, there were always kids in elementary and middle school who acted super weird around me. They wouldn't talk to me. They wouldn't play with me. That was all because of you. Do not blame this on me. It is your fault. You had no friends because you have a garbage personality. Is it really just Mia's problem? Just minutes ago, you tried to use the exact same playbook to extort money from Mason. Seeing your reaction, I am 100% convinced my friend's story was true. I locked eyes with Renee and took a step forward. She nervously backed away, her eyes darting around the room. I was just trying to protect Mia. The rumor might sound similar, but it is totally insane to assume it is true based on that. My friend actually showed me a photo of you sleeping with her ex-husband. Should I connect my phone to the projector and show the entire room right now? No, do not do it, Renee shrieked in absolute terror, her face contorting in panic. I hadn't actually gotten permission to show the photo, so I had no intention of doing it. I only said it to gauge her reaction. It worked perfectly. Her legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the floor. Are you kidding me? You were sleeping with married men too? I am really your daughter, huh? Sleeping with married guys. Realizing she had committed the exact same sins as her mother, Mia looked utterly devastated. The apple truly didn't fall far from the tree. Seeing the two of them break down, Mason suddenly smiled brightly. Renee, let us forget everything that just happened. Everyone makes mistakes, so it is totally fine if Mia gives birth to our baby, right? He was still delusionally begging Mia to have his child. Mia looked at him in sheer terror. I told you, I do not want to. Mason, give it up. Mia, why don't you just tell him the truth? If you admit there is no baby, Mason will give up immediately. What? Instantly, the entire venue fell dead silent. Mia's body began to violently shake. What are you talking about? I am pregnant. Oh, really? Then tell us. What OBGYN clinic are you going to? What is the name of the hospital? What is the name of your attending doctor? Firing off questions in rapid succession, Mia's eyes darted frantically around the room. She stammered, entirely unable to answer. And finally, she clamped her mouth shut. Mia? Why aren't you answering? You are pregnant, right? That is why I divorced Alice. Because I thought it was best for you and the baby. Mason clung to Mia, his face a mask of utter despair. But she refused to speak. Was the baby a lie? Were you deceiving us this entire time? Do you have any idea how excited Mason was for this child? My father-in-law went completely ballistic, screaming at Mia. Watching him, Tyler spoke up. Mia isn't pregnant, and even after she married Dad, she was still sleeping with another guy. She was, what? Wait, an affair? No, that has to be a lie. Mason shot a panicked look at Tyler, then desperately peered into Mia's face. Mia would never betray me, right? Even though he knew her job excuse was a lie, he had constantly showered her with luxury gifts. He had continued funding her lifestyle even after the wedding. Because of that, he convinced himself an affair was impossible. But Tyler immediately clicked the projector to a new photo. Sorry, Dad, but take a look at this. This is Mia, walking arm in arm with another guy. The screen displayed a photo of Mia linking arms with a very sketchy-looking older man. Instantly, Mason collapsed to his knees. No, a friend of mine who knew Mia and I were dating sent this to me. He asked, "Hey, isn't this Mia?" I hadn't told him she married my dad yet. Tyler's friend had worried Tyler was being cheated on and sent him the photo. But Tyler had already emotionally completely detached from Mia, so he didn't care. Instead, it ended up serving as undeniable proof that Mason was being cheated on. Who the hell is this guy? You married me, and you were sleeping with some thug? It was hard to tell from the photo, but the man was dripping in high-end designer brands. He was clearly loaded. Mia, did you sleep with him because he has money? Did you meet him on Instagram too? That is, tell the truth, Mia. You slept with him, didn't you? While I was at work, you were hooking up with this guy. Unable to withstand the aggressive interrogation, tears began streaming down Mia's face. And then, she snapped. Because my mom told me to. She said I had no idea how long some old guy would keep paying for me, so I needed to keep a backup sugar daddy ready. Mia, shut your mouth. Renee panicked and tried to silence her, but Mia began screaming every single secret they had. My mom demanded I give her money, so I had to sell the designer bags Mason bought me to pawn shops. But it still wasn't enough. So she ordered you to find another victim to scam. That means dating Tyler and marrying Mason. All of this was Renee's master plan. I didn't want to do any of it. It turned out Renee had been using her own teenage daughter as bait to extort money from men. What a monster of a mother. They were scamming Mason to steal all his money, the guests aggressively whispered, condemning Renee. My mom ordered me to fake the pregnancy. She said if I did that, Mason would definitely marry me. So that is why Renee was so supportive of the marriage. I just did what my mom said. Once he heard I was pregnant, Mason married me immediately. But I didn't know his job was fake. The moment Renee realized Mason wasn't actually a CEO, her entire master plan collapsed. That was why she instantly pivoted to trying to extort him through divorce settlement and cancellation fees instead. So, because your mom told you to, you kept sleeping around even after marrying Mason. Let me guess, your mom introduced you to that other guy? I told her I couldn't find any rich guys on Instagram, so she ordered me to sleep with him. The older man Mia was sleeping with was apparently funneling money directly to Renee. Judging from the photo, he looked to be around the exact same age as Mason. If I slept with old men, I got money. I didn't want to do it, but if I didn't, my mom wouldn't be able to pay her bills. You useless brat! Why are you confessing everything? Enraged by Mia's confession, Renee glared at her with the eyes of a literal demon and screamed. Mia didn't care about the audience. She just wailed at the top of her lungs. I hated it. I never wanted to sleep with gross old men. The venue fell completely silent, save for the echoing screams of Mia and Renee. What a terrifying family. You tricked us to bleed Mason dry? Mason, divorce her right now. Thank God there is no baby. Just cut your losses and forget about her. My father-in-law, who had been treating Mia like a princess just hours ago, completely turned on her. Mason stood frozen, staring blankly into space. Mia violently collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. It is not my fault. It is all my mom's fault. The cute, innocent facade she had worn was completely gone. But even after all their vile secrets were exposed to the world, Mason reached his hand out to Mia. Mia, you were just trying to help your mother. I am so moved. I had no idea you were such a kind, sweet girl. Mason, are you out of your damn mind? This girl has been scamming you. She isn't kind at all. Your mother is right. Mason, you love her, but give it up. You need to cut all ties with her immediately. No matter how much my in-laws begged him, he refused to call off the marriage. He was still trying to continue the ceremony. Mia is all I have left. I already divorced Alice. I refuse to be single again. So please, Mia, stay with me. I do not care what you did. Mason was desperately clinging to the idea of having a young wife. He grabbed the terrified Mia's arm and violently tried to drag her to her feet. No matter what happened, you married me. I will completely forget about the affair. Look, you are going to ruin your beautiful wedding dress. Let go of me. Since you aren't a CEO, a pathetic old loser like you is useless to me. There is zero benefit to being with you. Do you know how much money I spent on you? Are you going to pay me back every single cent? That was your own choice to buy that stuff. She violently rejected him, trying to rip her arm away. But Mason gripped her wrist with terrifying strength. I only bought it because you begged me for it. I gave you everything. I will never agree to a divorce. I refuse. Hearing him say that, my in-laws suddenly looked at Mia with terrifying glares. You know, he is right. If you cannot pay back the money you stole, you better stay married to him. Mia, from now on, you are going to work yourself to the bone and do every single chore in our house. You do not have a baby, and you are young, so you can work as much as we want. Our last daughter-in-law was unemployed and totally useless, but you can work a full-time job and still do the chores. You have the energy of a teenager. They were already planning on turning Mia into their new live-in slave. Realizing their sinister plot, Mia's face turned blue. No, I want a divorce. Mom, help me. If I stay, these old creeps are going to work me to death. I do not care. This is all your fault. If you had just kept your mouth shut, none of this would be happening. Having absolutely no intention of taking responsibility, Renee completely abandoned her daughter. Seeing that she had zero allies left, my in-laws narrowed their eyes. See? Living with us is way better than going back to a cold-hearted mother like that. We will train you well. We got rid of that old hag and got a young girl instead. In a way, this worked out perfectly. Dad, Mom, thank you for understanding. I am going to be so happy with Mia. Listening to the three of them state their utterly deranged, selfish logic, Tyler suddenly raised his voice. You guys really think Mom is a joke, don't you? You have absolutely no idea what is actually going on. My ex-husband's family glared at Tyler. They were clearly annoyed he was interrupting. What are you talking about? Alice deserves to be mocked. She had no job and slacked off on her chores. Exactly. Tyler, you really got brainwashed by Alice, didn't you? She is still unemployed right now, isn't she? Leeching off her parents after their bakery went bankrupt. How pathetic. Tyler, if this keeps up, you aren't going to be able to afford medical school. Hearing the three of them mockingly sneer, Tyler's voice grew fierce. What are you even talking about? Mom isn't unemployed at all. She has been working entirely on her own to reopen the bakery. Reopen the bakery? Mason tilted his head in confusion. Then, he loudly scoffed. Are you saying she is trying to restart her parents' bakery? That is impossible. They went completely bankrupt. That is your own stupid misunderstanding. Grandpa's bakery was highly profitable. Their sales were doing amazing. What? What are you talking about? Stunned, my ex-in-laws looked at each other in confusion. I explained this to you multiple times. Our shop did not go bankrupt. My parents closed it solely because of their age. But they refused to let you take over. There is no way you can reopen it. Your parents closed it because sales were tanking. It is true they rejected my proposal to take over, but that was out of pride for their craft. I explained the real reason my parents opposed me to the family. The three of them stared with their eyes wide open. My parents are perfectionists when it comes to baking. When I asked to take over, they were terrified the quality of the pastries would drop. No matter how many years I worked there, running the entire shop and maintaining the exact same level of quality for every single item on my own is incredibly difficult. That is why they decided to close it. While my parents were active, I was primarily their assistant. There were certain pastries they entrusted entirely to me, but only a fraction. I knew firsthand how impossibly hard it was to maintain the exact taste on my own. Because of that, they refused to let me inherit the shop. But I couldn't give up. The idea that our customers would never get to eat those beloved pastries again broke my heart. I knew my parents secretly wanted to keep the shop open too. When we closed, so many customers begged us not to, saying they wanted to eat our food again. I knew if I reopened, they would be thrilled. So, entirely on my own, I started developing recipes and practicing to recreate the original taste. Mom went back to the closed bakery every single day, working tirelessly by herself to perfectly recreate Grandma and Grandpa's recipes. I taste tested them, and they taste exactly like the classic recipes I grew up with. That day when my mother-in-law yelled at me for going to clean the bakery, I was actually inside the kitchen, frantically baking and perfecting the recipes on my own. At first, even I thought it was impossible. Recreating everything Grandma and Grandpa made all by herself? No way. But Tyler smiled warmly. Mom never gave up. For the entire month after she moved back to her parents' house, she was preparing for the grand reopening every single day. Seeing her work that hard, I decided I would support her with everything I have. Thank you, Tyler. After moving back into my childhood home, I told him I was aiming to reopen the shop. At first, he was shocked. But now Tyler was my biggest supporter. And recently, after having my parents taste test my final products, I successfully convinced them. My parents gave me their official seal of approval, saying the customers would love this taste. So right now, I am finalizing the preparations for our grand reopening. The interior of the shop was already remodeled. Now, I was just waiting for opening day. Hearing this truth, my ex-in-laws gasped. Alice never looked for a job, so we thought she was just going to be a jobless mooch forever. Mom never said a single word about being unemployed. You just assumed that on your own. You have absolutely no right to insult my mom. Tyler stood tall, proudly announcing my hard work to the entire room of relatives. Being praised by the son who watched me so closely made me blush. Tyler, stop. You are embarrassing me. Why are you embarrassed? I am just stating the facts. You worked incredibly hard, Mom. As your family, I am so proud of you. Okay, I get it. Thank you. My ex-in-laws watched our exchange, entirely speechless. They had thoroughly convinced themselves my family had fallen into poverty after a humiliating bankruptcy. But the reality was the exact opposite. My parents and I had plenty of savings, and once the shop reopened, we would easily have enough money to put Tyler through a top-tier medical program. Since Tyler is supporting me, I am going to protect this bakery no matter what. For my parents' sake, too, I am going to keep it running. Wait a minute. If you were planning to reopen the bakery, why didn't you just tell us? Keeping a secret like that from your own family is so cruel. Did you think we were going to get in your way? Yes, absolutely. Because there was a massive chance you three would violently oppose me reopening the shop. The moment I answered honestly, my in-laws clamped their mouths shut. Only Mason tried to argue. Why would we do that? We were begging you to get a job this entire time. Oh? So if we became a dual-income household, were you going to start helping with the chores, Mason? That is, the moment I lost my job at the bakery, my mother-in-law forced all the housework onto me. Knowing full well what was happening, neither Mason nor my father-in-law ever lifted a finger to help. Once I reopened the shop, there was no way I could handle doing the chores for 5 people all by myself. But if I asked you to split the chores, it was obvious you three would throw a massive tantrum. Knowing you, you would have forced me to work full-time and do all the chores. So what was your plan? If you didn't tell us you were working, you would have been doing the chores by yourself forever. That is why the moment the bakery reopened, I was planning to file for divorce. What? The second I said it flatly, my mother-in-law's eyes bugged out of her head. If I had my own income, I had no reason to rely on Mason's paycheck. Having reached my absolute limit, living with my abusive in-laws, I had been planning my escape the entire time. I had just gotten the concrete evidence of Mason's affair from the PI, so I was planning to take Tyler and move back to my parents' house anyway. But then, right on cue, Mason brought Mia home. You never showed a single sign you were planning to divorce me, because I knew if you found out, you would make it a nightmare. You three would never willingly let go of your perfect, unpaid maid. My mother-in-law instantly looked away. I had hit the nail right on the head. The person who benefited the most from me being unemployed was her. She fully intended to force me to be her servant until the day she died. That is exactly why I kept my mouth shut. And thankfully, Mason was stupid enough to ask for the divorce himself. Mason clenched his fists in sheer frustration. Next to him, Mia was still trembling on the floor. If Alice hadn't signed the divorce papers, none of this would have happened. She put on a tragic face, still trying to act like the ultimate victim. But if Mia hadn't lied about being pregnant, the divorce would never have happened in the first place. If you want to hate someone, hate yourself. You are the one who scammed Mason just because your mother told you to. Mia, you heard Alice. She is never coming back to me. You are all I have left. Breathing heavily, Mason shoved his face close to Mia. Watching the two of them, I turned to my ex-in-laws and spoke up. By the way, there is one last thing I need to tell you too. What now? Are you hiding something else? Yes, but I am not the one hiding it. Mason is. Do you know exactly where the money he used to buy Mia all those designer bags and luxury jewelry came from? The moment I asked, Mason screamed at the top of his lungs. Alice, what the hell are you trying to say? Could you be quiet? I am talking about something very important right now. Mom, Dad, do not listen to a word Alice says. She is just trying to frame me. Dad, calm down. If Mom is lying, there is no harm in letting Grandpa and Grandma hear it, right? Assuming you can prove it is a lie, of course. Tyler smirked, easily shutting Mason down. My in-laws looked completely lost. What are you talking about? He bought Mia's presents with his own paycheck, right? That is why he cut the grocery budget and forced you to save money. Unable to grasp my point, the two of them tilted their heads. I revealed the final, crushing truth. Just cutting the grocery budget would never be enough to buy multiple luxury bags and jewelry. Mason was pretending to be a CEO making $500,000 a year, so he was spending an insane amount of cash. So where did he get it? He stole the money you two were saving for your retirement. What? Mason, is that true? My in-laws snapped their heads toward Mason. Alice, stop making up psychotic lies to destroy me. Mom, Dad, you have to believe me. Panic utterly destroying his composure. Mason screamed his denials. There is no way I would ever touch your money. But you asked us for our bank account PIN numbers a while ago just in case of an emergency, didn't you? Yeah, I asked. But I never withdrew anything. I haven't even touched your debit cards. Dad, stop lying. Tyler's voice cut through the room, causing my in-laws' eyes to widen. Tyler, do you know something too? I saw him. About a week before I left for camp, I saw Dad sneaking into Grandpa's bedroom and stealing his debit cards. Mason? What does this mean? Tyler would never lie just to frame you. Cornered by his parents, Mason's mouth opened and closed like a dying fish. He was desperately searching for an excuse. Tyler I saw wrong. I never took your debit cards. Then why don't you check your banking app or go to an ATM right now to check your balance? If the money is still there, we will know Mason didn't steal it. You are right. Let us check right now. Forgetting they were in the middle of a wedding, my father-in-law turned to storm out of the hall. Mason's face drained of all color, and he violently grabbed his father to stop him. Wait, I am sorry. Alice and Tyler are telling the truth. I used your money. Realizing he could no longer escape, Mason dropped to both knees and slammed his forehead against the floor in a desperate dogaza. I just wanted to look like a big shot for Mia. I was terrified she would find out I was lying. So I used your savings. I am so sorry. My in-laws' faces turned purple with absolute rage. You piece of trash. You stole our life savings just to fuel your own pathetic ego? Have you no shame? I didn't have enough money. It was a last resort. I thought if I didn't buy her presents, Mia would dump me. Unbelievable. I cannot believe my own son is a thief. Give us our money back right this second. That was our lifeline for the future. Realizing their life savings had been stolen, the two of them lost their minds. They rained down relentless, vicious insults on the endlessly apologizing Mason. We paid for this wedding today. Give us back every single cent of that too. We refuse to celebrate the wedding of a thieving son. And give us back the money we chipped in for living expenses. We are never spending another dime on you. I am sorry. I am begging you to forgive me. I will pay you back. I swear. Mason sobbed, apologizing over and over. Then, he suddenly directed all his fury toward Mia. This only happened because Mia kept begging me for stuff. Mason practically crawled across the floor toward her. He grabbed her violently. If you hadn't manipulated me, I would never have had to steal my parents' money. This is all your fault, Mia. Stop it. Let go of me. You did this to yourself. Stop blaming me. Give me back every single bag and piece of jewelry I bought you. Get the cash ready right now. Terrified by Mason's screaming, Mia began to physically shake. She instantly begged Renee for help. Mom, help me. Let us go home right now. I never want to see these people again. Fine, let us go. Reluctantly, Renee lent her a hand. The two of them tried to quickly flee the venue, but my mother-in-law wasn't going to let that happen. With a terrifying scowl, she lunged forward and grabbed Mia's wedding dress, yanking her back. Hold it right there. Do you really think we are letting you escape? You are the ones who stole all our money. That is right. You two are paying for this wedding. You completely humiliated us in front of our entire family. Do not touch me. I have nothing to do with this. Make Mia pay you back. I already spent almost all the money that old man gave me. There is no way I can pay you back. As the relatives watched in sheer disgust, my ex-in-laws, Mia and Renee, erupted into a violently ugly brawl in the center of the hall. Mason was still face down on the floor, muttering curses. I will never forgive you. Because of Mia, The 5 of them grabbed each other's clothes, screaming and shifting the blame. The venue had turned into an absolute war zone. Fearing they would get dragged into the violence, the guests began standing up one by one and fleeing the room. I looked down at the pathetic Mason and spoke in a flat voice. I will be billing you and Mia for the infidelity damages, so make sure you have the money ready. I cannot pay that. You know I am broke. He lifted his head and glared at me with pure hatred, but whether he could pay or not wasn't my problem. You chose to have an affair. You have to pay for your crimes. My lawyers will handle the paperwork. Wait. Tyler! Are you really going to abandon me? Mason reached his hand out toward Tyler, begging for salvation. I am your only father. The fact that my father is a pathetic scumbag like you makes me sick. Do not ever call yourself my father again. Tyler looked down at the despairing Mason, with absolute disgust. After that, we turned our backs and walked out of the venue without ever looking back. The very next day, Mason and Mia got a rapid-fire divorce. Sometime later, the 2 of them took out massive high-interest loans to pay my settlement in a single lump sum. After that disastrous wedding, my furious ex-in-laws officially disowned Mason. I heard he now lives completely alone in a decaying, run-down apartment, drowning in debt repayments. His daily life is a constant struggle for survival. Furthermore, rumors of the wedding fiasco spread like wildfire at his corporate job, and his co-workers treat him like absolute garbage. According to Tyler, Mia completely dropped out of high school. Saddled with a massive amount of debt alongside her mother, rumors say she is now working in the sketchy underground nightlife scene to pay it off. Even though their mother-daughter relationship is completely toxic, they have no one else to rely on, so they are stuck living in misery together. As for my ex-in-laws, since Mason stole their entire life savings, they were left with nothing but the massive mortgage on that multi-generational house. Unable to pay, they lost the house to foreclosure. Now, the 2 of them live quietly in a cramped, tiny apartment. On the other hand, I successfully held the grand reopening of my family's classic American bakery. Word quickly spread that the nostalgic, beloved taste was back, and our shop is packed every single day with both regulars and new customers. And Tyler successfully passed his exams and was accepted into a prestigious university pre-med program. He still commutes to his classes from the house I share with my parents. I love the cherry pie you make, Mom. Keep making this forever. Okay? Of course. Keep studying hard, Tyler. I know you are going to be an amazing doctor. Stuffing his cheeks with pie, Tyler flashed a massive, bright smile. My parents absolutely adore him and dote on him constantly. Surrounded by the family I truly love, I plan to spend the rest of my days living a truly happy life.